Right. Maybe we'll have one here, Nelson.
Well, I hope so, Chris. Probably the greatest thrill we've ever had in professional bowling, the 300 in McCordick. Not even eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. And I guess second only to that 300 game would be a victory in the Firestone. It's left down to just two men. Pete Weber, whose father has finished second twice in this tournament, and Jim Murtishaw, who took the lead in the last 8 games last night. Let's see what happens.
He is unbeatable when the adrenaline gets flowing. He starts out again with that powerful strike bow.
Very much so, Chris. And here's a methodical young man who has gone about his business very quietly. He's bowling as well as anybody I've seen in the tournament. In the qualifying, I had the pleasure of following this man on my qualifying pair. He just never made a mistake all week long.
Look at that. The current Southern California Bowler of the Year from Vista. Only his 4th television appearance, and as we indicated, his first Firestone after a victory in Venice.
Chris, a 4.5-step delivery, just an ideal textbook style. Just tremendous. He's gained a lot of confidence with that victory in Venice, and as you said, Southern California Bowler of the Year, and that doesn't come lightly. Glenn Allison, Barry Asher, just to mention a few who have won that title before. Some great champions before him. Now, with 9 frames left, the Firestone in hand, both players are perfect.
Sliding by, leaving the 2-5-8 on the left lane.
The ball just sliding by, the head pin going to the sideboard. Is once again we see the left-hand lane being the story of the opponents, really, of Pete Weber. They have not been able to get out to a quick start as Pete has the last 2 matches because of their inability to strike in the second frame on the left-hand lane. Mark Roth left the 2-8, and here the 2-5-8 by Murtishaw.
All right. The man that was going to give it all up, was going to give the tour up until he won in Venice, traveling with his wife Anita and his son Matthew. He is a credit to the game, Jim Murtishaw. And of course, a win today would make Pete Weber the 1987 money leader.
He would also surpass his father's lifetime earnings. Pete just at the tender age of 24.
But he has a long way to go to surpass his father's great contribution to the game.
That's for sure. Dick Weber, obviously one of the greatest bowlers of all time. I'm sure he's home watching and rooting for his son as Pete sends that shot errant, and obviously the wildest shot so far today on the right-hand lane. The 1, 2, 4, and 8 pins to convert. Look out.
Oh, and there. A chink in the armor.
Well, Pete Weber with that great strike ball has finally made a mistake today as the ball slides by the 1, 2, 4, and 8, leaving the 1 and 8 pins. He has 26 pins through 2 frames. Murtishaw has 20 in the first spare up, has a 14-pin lead. The key, Chris, is to see how Weber comes back. You cannot let a wild shot or one bad shot affect your bowling in the other frames ahead.
All right. Just amazing how they do come back.
Good concentration. Weber collects his thoughts and just drills all 10 pins in the pit.
Here, the title is the thing. One of the 3 major titles available for these professionals. To the winner, 50 grand. To the runner-up, 28. A high hit, and lucky to get by with the 3-6.
Chris, you said 50,000. Obviously, a lot of money, but the other 2 titles, the PBA National and U.S. Open, pay 49 and 100,000 respectively. But a 5-year exemption into this tournament comes along with a title. And last place in this tournament is $1,600, so that's an additional $8,000 if you just show up the next 5 years.
All right, that's a spare for Jim Murtishaw, the 33-year-old professional from Vista, California. 1 victory to his credit. That's how he got into this year's Firestone, winning the Bowler's Journal Open in Venice, Florida. At the bottom with the red tie, that's Dick Evans. who won all the Bowling Writer Awards this year, it seemed. Veteran from the Miami Herald. And only the 5-pin stands, an 11-pin lead by Jim Murtishaw.
And we'll go back to remember this pin action right here is he gets away with an easy spare of the 5-pin instead of something like the 2, 4, 5, and 7 or the 2, 4, 5, 8. 3-pin difference in count, which leave 11 instead of less than 10, which is easy to make up, and a much easier spare to go into the first break in the action with 11-pin lead.
Okay. Now he trails by 1. And Bo, we're fortunate to be in the PBA Hall of Fame, and we welcome the new inductees here in '87.
Monday night at the banquet, the great Mark Roth, Jim Godman, Masters title and 2 Firestones to his credit. One of my good buddies, Bob Stramp, he bowled on the same team with him. He carried me to a lot of titles. And the man who put up the money for the original Firestone tournament champion, the brilliant Raymond Firestone, all went in the PBA Hall of Fame Monday night.
Class with a capital C.
Now Weber, 2 strikes working, trails by 1, can take the lead, 5th frame.
Oh, he was down begging for that one. Remember, he had that open frame in the 2nd, and I'm sure his rooters watching on TV thought, uh-oh, but now he's strung 3, this reaction.
Now our tournament leader, Jim Murtishaw. Trails by 9, 5th frame, spare working. Let's see how he reacts to the hot string of Pete Weber.
Leaving the bucket on the right lane.
Difficult spares, and Jim Murtishaw took the lead after qualifying in the middle of the pack, and he bowled all 24 games of the final match play over 200 to set a new record. Murtishaw never under 200 in all 24 games, all day Thursday and 16 games on Friday. Now a very difficult spare to stay in arrears by 13 pins.
And there gets the 2, 4, 8 and the 5, and it's a big open. Sad for Anita, his wife.
Murtishaw's eyes, he's saying, hold up, ball, don't chop it. Doesn't seem too perturbed about this. Trails by 24 pins, but half the game is still left, and strange things have happened in the Firestone tournament.